now there is the two boys comparing
Yeah. That's the
yeah.
right one. Okay, so now I will talk about something psychotherapeutic. The question is how to manage weight, and as said earlier, it looks like that first the weight problem is very useful, and as it said earlier also, so our collective and society system somehow courage so that 60% of people have weight problem. Many of these who has weight problem don't actually think that they have weight problem, and I don't want to I don't chronicle I don't want to go to them and say that you have weight problem. The big issue in helping weight problem, my thing there is that I just want to see if I can find, or I have a tool, but I need to see if I can find the way that somebody wants to buy that tool. I think that I can find it, but I'm not sure if I'm enough motivated. But let's see. I do the process, and I have had two Norwegian without charging meetings and two Finnish without charging meeting, and the main point there is to make something I call constellation, and more exact solution focused constellation or cognitive constellation. Constellation is the relative known working method where in the good hands it's very high level therapeutic method. When, for example, here in Norway, it's like alternative therapy, and I understand it very well because it is not always in the good hands, and it can create things that are just not good. In therapy, there is old history which does that the therapy very often concentrate, if it could be said, too much to the problem and less to the solution, less to the exceptions of the problem. And exceptions of the problem, as I see, is the main key in successful psychotherapy. And it doesn't matter if it has with weight management or weight balance, or it has to do with depression or anxiety. So the exception is the very key. And very often, if you don't do it too early, so the exceptions, when you try to find the exceptions, for example, eating people who have problem with eating, I have now met in last 2 weeks 20 people who comes to this meetings and tell that they have some problem with eating, and the most of the people don't say that they have a problem with that they eat too much or they eat too less. They say that they have eating noise in their head, and that's the problem. It's they are thinking eating, they are controlling eating. So what is not there is some kind of automatic health relationship to food. An automatic spares always energy. And there we come to Judith Beck, the most known psychotherapist, Aaron Beck, cognitive psychotherapist, father of cognitive psychotherapist, father, Aaron Beck's daughter, Judith Beck, who is very known with psychological process of health, food relationship, and health weight balance, says that actually it's very simple. The simple thing that people who has health relationship to food and healthy relationship to eating and healthy relationship to weight, they are thinking in the other way. That's what Judith Beck says. Of course, again, it's too simplification. The simplification comes very often. Also, when I have met these 20 people, many I have never earlier met, they went that I say something very wise, and then they just lose weight, and it doesn't happen so. You need to struggle, but if you struggle too much, so it doesn't help you. So people who I'm talking about, these people who has weight noise in their head. So they try to control their weight mostly with negative self-talk, and that's not the solution. You may not do that, and you may not do that, and blah blah blah. You are a loser. You have you again done wrong. I ate yesterday too much. I can eat again because I'm a bad person and I will never succeed. And that's the wrong framework. That doesn't help. But that's where people, no matter if they manage or not manage the weight control, they are most often there. They are most often there because they see themselves with the others' negative eyes. They see that others see me this and that, and so if I don't have this weight which I should have. The key is that it's not what you look like. The key is what you feel in your body. So somebody today said that the solution after 1 year is to feel light in every way. So that's that you have changed modality. You have changed the which kind of sense you use. Instead, what you look like, you have changed it how you feel. And if you feel okay in your body, so very often it means that eating and regulation and balance there comes automatic. And again, automatic means every time you when we are talking of weight, so you don't need to do it less energy, but when you have something automatic, you don't need to fight. And then we come there. Now my book's topics today, it can change, is how to use cognitive hypnotherapy in in order to find balanced relationship to weight. That's a nice way to tell it. And cognitive hypnotherapy and therapy, it builds most of the state of automatism. how you do things automatic. And when you do things automatic, it means that you lose somehow control. So the paradox from some point, not to take it too serious, is that very often to get balanced relationship to food and eating and weight is not to increase control, it's to lose control. But you need to lose it in the right way so that it helps. The more you use control, the more fight in your body, the more the body wants food which it doesn't need. It funds your blood sucker says that you need to have food because you have actually stress. You need this food to somehow balance your stress. Okay, so exceptions are the key element in somehow changing the relationship. It means that you don't search where you are doing wrong. Maybe you need to a little bit search also where you are doing wrong, but you begin to search what does function in you. And it means actually that finding a long run, it looks like for me, finding a long run functioning system so nobody else can tell it. Like Buddhists say, I cannot teach you anything. And when we are working with constellation, the idea, if we are working with constellation. When we are working in constellation, so you find different kind of point of view, which is like a nourishment to you. It's like a new point of view. It's totally different from that somebody tells you do this or do that. It can be very useful for somebody. Somebody says like in military or army do this and they do that. But here we are trying to learn something that helps you break the vicious circle which is there in eating habit. Very often the vicious circle is something that it has something to do with shame. It has something to do with not accepting self, bad feelings, and controlling the bad feelings with eating. That's one, but of course there is lot of different. There is not two people who has the same weight problem. How it functions. Everybody has different, but that's the most important. But when we are talking about exceptions, how to find your own way to learn something more in weight management. So actually there is three persons who are in picture who somehow meets each other. There is Carl Gustav Jung, second famous psychoanalyst in world, who has many interesting thoughts, lot of interesting theoretical work. Carl Gustav Jung had a word, shadow. Carl Gustav Jung says that God doesn't help you, your intelligence doesn't help you, your discipline doesn't help you. The only thing which helps you is to meet your own shadow. And what is the shadow? What does this shadow, Carl Gustav Jung's shadow is a little bit complicated, but we comes more to Erikson, who was one of the most known psychotherapist, hypnotherapist in the world, who has been made like some kind of prophet. He was absolutely skillful, but he has become also some kind of phenomenon after his death. But he worked with very different kind of things, with very unique method, and very often he tailored the method. One of the most known about Milton Erikson's method is something which is called crystal ball technique, and that's what I want a little bit talk about. And when we talk about crystal ball technique, then we come to Bert Hellinger. These three persons are all some kind of genius, and there is no doubt about that. But they are very different field. Everybody of them works strongly with a phenomenon which we can call unconscious. We don't know scientific if there is unconscious, but most of the therapists who are working with people knows that there is something we can call unconscious. And all these people, Carl Gustav Jung, Milton Erikson, Bert Hellinger. Bert Hellinger was the father of method which called family constellation, and we come to the end to the family constellation. But crystal ball technique, you can do the crystal ball technique as a hypnotic session, which we did today here, and we could do it afterwards, but I see that the time is flying, so I need to take quick. When I'm talking about the weight management or weight balance, so this is a little bit old picture. Weight management and eating disorder are not so far away from each other. So and again, eating disorder, it's just a name, and not trustworthy name, but as you can be 33% A, ADHD, I cannot say in English, but you can have all diagnosis, some percents. It's not that you have or you don't have. It's just psychiatric wrong thinking. They are all definition. So I have had weight problem nearly all my life, and it's okay. I have accepted it 40 years. I have worked so much that I have not thought that it is no problem. But now when I work a little bit less, so I want to go forward with that by doing this what I'm doing, having this course and maybe writing a book. But back to the away from myself, exception, shadow. The exception is, and shadow is often like a circle in some kind of old-fashioned psychotherapy. There is a very strong belief that history manage, history decide how we do. In cognitive therapy, and cognitive therapy is my main background, also solution focused therapy, but cognitive therapy. There is a little bit different way of thinking, okay, and different therapists think in a different way, but there can be a thought that history doesn't do anything. All the problems are some kind of vicious circle. They are some circle where is thought, there is emotion, there is intention because of that emotion, which is always to get rid of that emotion. Then it's behavior, and after behavior comes feedback from outer world. So we can see it so that every problem is like a vicious circle, and this vicious circle is opposite what Carl Gustav Jung calls shadow. It's opposite the exception. The most known solution focused therapist Steve Sager spoke about exception. Undantag, poikkeus in Finnish, undantag in Norwegian. So, and that's what we are looking for. That's, of course, that's just one dimension uh, of the idea. So of course you need to see what you eat. Maybe you need to do some small changes. Maybe you need to work with your long run motivation. Why actually you should go down in weight. And very often when people, for example, I have had this 2 weeks now, so people come and actually they are not motivated. They want to get some kind of do this and then you go to heaven. And this is our times bullshit, because we are selling different kind of processes in digital world, and it makes us a little bit silly. So we believe that kind of easy solution. Most often there is no easy solution. If you have had problem with weight long time, so if you wait easy solution, so you don't think very cleverly. You need and what is important is that there is one relative known person in Finland nowadays. I don't want to say name, but who is very much in Finnish newspaper and also newspaper in USA, because he has done, he says that he has done some innovation which nobody has not yet done. And he says that the most interesting and activating and energetic goals are the goals which you nearly cannot get. So trying to get easy, it's a little bit wrong way. It's you need to go into. Okay, but this shadow, 5 minutes time, many only to meet your shadow can cure you. And now we come to Milton Erikson's, we tried again here today, very simple way. The idea is exception. The exception means there can be very different kind of exceptions. There can be, you can begin to observe, and very often in cognitive therapy we use some kind of observation methods. For example, in going down in weight, you can have good periods. It's very easy. You can come to some kind of flow when you train a lot and you don't want to stop to train. Or then you have some periods which you have awful urge, which you cannot manage. And you should have a different strategies in this stage. And you have all these different states. You have all these modes, as Jeffrey Young, schema-focused therapy says. But there is some general things, and we are talking about exceptions, how you can find a new state, new way of thinking, new way of feeling. And it doesn't come from 0 to 100. You find a little bit new way of thinking by searching exceptions. And as I said earlier, the exceptions you can find in very many different dimensions, from very many different directions and dimensions. You can find exceptions from history. In hypnotherapy and in constellation, I use it all very often when I do constellation work. I use it very often when I do hypnotherapy, one-to-one, or even to groups. So and they call forgotten resource from childhood. And it when you get forgotten resource, it's when you work with hypnotherapy. So the problem is that you need to be in the right state. You need to be in the state where your brain is more open, and there is no guarantee. It's no guarantee if you talk half hours that people go to that state, because they can have some stop in their brain, something that says that I don't find this forgotten resource. But when you find this forgotten resource, so you ask the person to go to this forgotten resource, feel it strongly, and you, as you can say, you anchor it. Anchor, it's a little bit easy way, but somehow that you can get it back when you want. Then you can find exceptions from the future. Very usual exception from the future is in solution focused therapy is miracle question. It functions very well. It's very used, but it's just one exception. It's question where things works in the way you want them to work. Another, a little bit different framing with to find exception from the future. First, we find exception from the history. We find an exception from the future by asking, how would the situation be after 1 year if it would be in the way you want it to be? Third resource, you can in hypnotic process combine these resources. It's actually very simple, but it's not so that you can learn it by listening this. It's very simple. You can do it by saying when the person is this trance state, that these two resources go together. Or you can do it by that you have anchored one forgotten childhood, for example, to your one hand, and how you want the situation be in the future to other hand, and then you press both of these hands all together. Many ways. These are very understandable resources, but then you can have resources even more from your unconscious. One which we call key helping dream. And key helping dream is people. I have met a lot of people who tells that they have this and this and this and this problem. I had a problem. I was very angry to some person, very long time, angry and had bad feelings. Then one night I had a dream, and the angriness was away. I nearly could not create that angriness afterward. So we have our unconsciousness has this kind of ability, but even our unconsciousness has this ability. It doesn't mean that you can find it immediately. It's a training thing. So I can quite easily, because I have trained, to go to that state. I say that I'm go more and more near sleeping state, and then I go over the border where I begin to dream, and then I begin to look these dreams. So I begin but most people, when you train it, so you can come to that dream state, and your unconscious can create that kind, but you need a lot of space, lot of therapeutic window, which is open there. So key dreams, and just to ask when person is in trance or in constellation to give this role to somebody, key dreams. So you can also give it to some outer person. That's how constellation works. You can ask somebody be in the role, externalize this resource, this exceptional resource. And the third or fourth thing is metaphors. So, for example, I was working with a person who experienced that his remembering process was get worse, and then I try to find some kind of metaphor, and the metaphor is that it's very scientific fact that forgetting is very healthy. The more you forget, less the better state your brain have, because it can create yourself. It can create the optimal brain state when you forget. If you would not forget anything, so you would be the super remembering. There has been in the world history some super remembering, and it has not gone very well. They have become crazy or get killed because they cannot concentrate anymore or something like that. So metaphors, or there was somebody who says that she cannot resist chocolate, and I told a long history about one person who could not resist very good cakes, and I told a long process how this person was asked to put something very bad on the cake and look the cake afterwards and ask if I want to. It was the person was asked to put shit on the cake and take it in the front of you when you want to have this cake. So it was a metaphor. It was a metaphor which says immediately to emotional process stop. It's some kind of, we call it aversion therapy, which is nearly you need to be very careful when you do aversion. So you find these different kind of exception: historical, forgotten resource, future resource. How do you want that the situation would be after one word? Helping dream, helping key dream, and metaphor. You find this. You can write them down. You can write, I don't ask you to write down. If you would have tea, write them down. And then you can, for example, begin to work with this two fingers method. About 6,000 years old Buddhist methods, which is that you lift your two index fingers up and you feel very strongly what happens on the top of your index finger. What is it? Sweat? Is it? What do you feel there? Is it wind? What is the temperature? And what is the point there? Point is that when you feel two index finger, your brain gets balanced and you get focused. You get focused in the way that it leads you to trance. And when you continue that, you make a little bit more difficult. You begin to think that now my fingertips lifts even 1 centimeter up from my actual fingertips. When you feel the fingertips 1 centimeter up, your both fingers are up. I cannot show it, but they are up. Both fingers are up. I cannot show. You have your fingers in your lap, and both are up. And when they are up, so it also increases to think that you are some kind of small catalytic state. And then you feel the fingertips, you lift it up, even finger is up, 3 centimeter up, and you lift the focus point even 1 centimeter up from fingertips. And then you begin breathe these resources. After, okay, now we go to that. Childhood resource, forgotten resource, go in there, feel it. Notice where you feel it in your body. When you notice where you feel it in your body, how does it look like? What color? How does it move? How big is it? If you begin to count from 1 to 10, and it increases all the time, and it gets bigger and bigger, and you feel and see it sometimes. And you do this same process with every of these resources. So you strengthen and then you get to the end somehow. I go not now to detail. You can combine these just so now everybody is going together. My future, my history resource, my dream resource, my metaphor resource, everything goes together. And after that you can do something even more crystal ball technique. As one of the persons who are there who's likes and loves and knows that metaphors are very strong. You can do a metaphor about the combination exception resource. And then you can go to the future with this symbol of combination resource. You go 1 month forward, let's see what happens, and you go 3 months forward, and you go so far that the problem is solved. So that one of you said that feel totally light. Go so far and you see what is there when you feel totally light. And everything of this we can do in the constellation. We can forget the resource, which it stayed after 1 year, helping key dream, helping metaphor, combination, future pace. Future pace means that you go forward, but what happens? So it's one kind of version about Milton Erikson and Steve Sagers. They did it in 2 different ways. Crystal ball technique, which you can use in a group method. And when you use it in a group method, so it can be even stronger. And it's not just this main person who get help. All the people who are in the roles we call it roles or representants. So get help, and everybody who sees this constellation get, not every, it's not guaranteed that everybody, but very often they get, because you see something. The constellation is a method which make visible something which is unconscious, and that's the very nice thing. And this was the English version, which was some kind of improvisation in order to combine Finnish and Norwegian groups, but it did not come so many. So let's see what happens. So next Monday is Finnish version at 18 o'clock, and next Tuesday is Norwegian version and English version. There is no English version if I don't decide that it is English version. And this is what I'm creating. Of course, I want to sell. If you see this lecture somewhere and you are interested, but I'm not interested to prostitute myself. I'm not interested to ask every questions that blah blah blah. Maybe I'm not interested of that. But if you are really interested of that, work with that. So you can find Markku Karma is my name. Now I live in Oslo in Norway. I'm actually Finnish citizen and always Norwegian citizen, and I like to work. But you need to be interested, not just some easy tricks, but everything of what I'm talking here is something you can learn a very lot. Both hypnosis and constellation is that you can learn very much something you don't learn by listening some lecture. You don't learn, and the main point is your own learning, not that somebody is talking something wise. I hope that it was some kind of wise. Nice that you have seen it. If you have seen it, and hope all the best. And if you find something interesting, so you find my name, Markku Karma, and also my email address somewhere. In Finnish group, we meet next Monday at 18 o'clock, and Norwegian group Tuesday at 18 o'clock. And possibly I make some groups, but then now they are without payment. In when it comes August and September, they are not without payment. So because this is my work and this is what I can, and I can it very well. So now I just create the thing and see where it goes. So thank you so much. Now I stop sharing, and now I take record.